World grappling with economic uncertainties, all eyes are turning to potential growth engines. Our colleague Vamakshi Dhoria recently spoke with Brandon Spencer, president of ABB's Motion Business Area and member of the Group Executive Committee, asking him if India stands out as a bright spot in the global landscape.
It really does. I have a lot of energy from being here this week, not just the people, which I think are fantastic, but also the market. And so, whatever the GDP is 6.5, 6.2, 7, whatever the right number is, I think what you see is growth. And you see it across sectors and you see it across the country. And so it's not regionalized, it's not one specific sector, it's really everywhere. We've met with cement customers this week, with OEMs that are doing stuff local that are also exporting global for, say, oil and gas, water, wastewater companies, you name it. Everybody's talking about growth still. And so, yeah, again, there's some lumpiness to it if you think about some of the regulatory environment conflicts that have happened and other things. But still, the overall sentiment that we hear from the market is growth. And so, I think that's kind of a positive light. India's also set up in a good spot, I think, in terms of trade partners and how they're viewed on the macro scale for geopolitical. So, I certainly feel comfortable that we can be successful in India and that we can hopefully have some runway ahead of us.
Well, absolutely. India is one of the fastest growing markets in the world then, and what's also underway is the kind of shift towards clean energy, energy efficiency. In fact, by 2070, India has a target to be net zero. So, I'd just like to understand from you, because India is also a very cost-conscious market.
Yeah.
So how do various factors weigh, right? The long-term savings from the energy cost and the higher upfront investment. How do you balance both of them and then present it to your customers?
Yeah, maybe let's start at a high level of kind of why do it? What's the value? Because energy efficiency is not something brand new. It's not a new term. We all know it. But maybe why is it applicable? If you think about moving everything to high efficiency motors, if you think about attaching drives to motors and gaining energy savings, you can put at least 10% capacity back on the grid. So one thing everywhere is talking about with data center growth, with population growth and everything is how do we get more energy? Well, we can do it now. We can do it with technology that's available. If we keep applying yesterday's technology to the new facilities that we're building, we're not going to get there. And so I think that's really where we should focus. I was in Vadodara earlier this week, and our factory there, our large motors factory there, we've deployed a motor that's 99.13% efficient. We broke our own world record. So it's always nice at ABB when we get to break our own world record. But that motor will save $6 million over its lifetime in electricity costs for the customer. One motor. That same motor has a payback time of 3 months. So in any boardroom, in any executive office around the world, those are numbers that should resonate. And that's one machine.
But I was speaking to a couple of analysts, and they've been highlighting that motors and drives are sort of getting commoditized. So in such a market, how do you stand out? Because if you don't stand out, your margins tend to come under pressure.
I think first, being local. So making sure we're in the countries that we have the brick and mortar facilities to manufacture, and that provides us speed. And speed's really important in the markets today. The second is continue to innovate. Push the efficiency standards or requirements higher, what our capabilities are so that we can serve our customers and differentiate with that. And then we have to deliver quality and service. That's a big differentiator for ABB is, we've been in India manufacturing for 75 years. The plant that I was at today opened in 1951. And we're still pouring money into that facility and expanding that in order to serve our customers. And so, being local, innovating on technology, our service business that we have, and then certainly all of our channels and channel partners and paths to market. That allows us to be very close to our customers, stocking goods, all those sort of things. So price is, of course, always a discussion. You're never going to get away from that. ABB is not the low price provider, but we also provide a higher quality, higher efficiency machines, local presence, service capabilities, the list goes on in terms of what differentiates ABB from some of our competitors.
Absolutely, and that brings me to my next question on manufacturing, because a couple of months ago when I spoke to Sanjeev at the Vadodara facility, he mentioned that the global leaders are actually recognizing the power of manufacturing in India, and I think you can give us a peek of what's going on in the boardroom with respect to India.
Sure. I mean, India's third largest market in the world for ABB. So first is the US, second is China, and third is India. So it's hugely relevant to ABB overall as a group. So to my electrification colleagues, process automation colleagues, and then certainly our motion business. So I think the first is huge relevance. We've deployed hundreds of millions of dollars of capital in the last decade into India, into our existing facilities, expanding lines, renovating things.
Well, and I'd like to also understand from you, you've got presence in China, you also have presence in India. So when it comes to manufacturing in both of these countries, right, what is the competitive advantage that both of these companies offer? And the global supply chain has been trying to de-risk from China. So in such a scenario, how is India placed as compared to some of its other Asian counterparts?
India is very competitive. I mean, especially if you look at total landed costs. So I think you have to look at the total landed costs. And if we look at that, very competitive across lots of different parts of the technology or lots of our different offerings. So we continue to operate on the local for local, moving R&D. We have 4,000 plus R&D engineers in India for ABB. So having R&D local, developing the products local, sourcing the components and materials and things locally wherever we can and what makes sense, and then manufacturing it locally. And so for us, that's been the secret to success, to continue to grow in China, to continue to grow in India, and have the market-leading positions that we have.
You just mentioned about local for local, but my question to you is, can India be an exception to that in the sense that maybe it could cater to a lot more other markets in the neighboring region? So what's your outlook on that?
Yeah, absolutely. We are exporting now from India. So some of our product lines, we export 30-40% of what we manufacture here. So I think India has a great capability of exporting knowledge as well as exporting, equipment. In our process automation business, majority of what we engineer globally is engineered out of India. For my business in motion, again, some of the factories we're exporting 30 or 40% to the US, to Latin America, to the Middle East, to parts of Southeast Asia. And so I think there's no reason that we can't have a competitive advantage at great quality, speed, cost, all of it from here in India.
Does that sort of get impacted, mainly on account of the reciprocal tariffs that will come through?
I think we have to see where all these things land. It's a little early to kind of predict the outcome when the goalposts are still moving all the time. And so, I think overall, we can still have a competitive position and export from here, especially to certain markets. It may have an impact in various places, but I think overall on kind of the macro scale, it really doesn't impact if we'll be able to export from India.
Sure, and you have a war chest in terms of cash on your books. I think it's somewhere around 5,700 crores for the listed entity in India. So, a lot of your competitors have been, aggressive with their investment plans here. What is your take on your capex plans here in India? Are you looking to expand some of your facilities? Are you looking at inorganic growth opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've read some of the same articles that you have, I'm sure, of competitors opening up plants and these sort of things. And look, I think a lot of the competitors are trying to play catch up. We've been here for 75 years manufacturing. We've poured hundreds of millions of dollars of capital, US dollars of capital, into these facilities to upgrade them and to expand them. And we will continue to do that on a yearly basis to continue to be a market leader across India. I think also inorganic, our CEO, Morton, who's been on your show before as well. Obviously, we have a great strategy out there on inorganic of bolt-ons and what we want to do in order to continue to expand ABB's portfolio. And so India, for sure, an open market for us to look at the inorganic side.
All right, with that, what we'll do is take a short break. On the other side, we have the